Last night when we was at youth rally, I got to thinking about we had prayer last night for Papa, and they had prayer for us and Mom and everything. And I got to thinking about so many times about how we don't really pray enough. You know, how everybody falls short in this. You don't seem like we pray enough. And then I got to thinking about how many times do I actually pray in a day, and why do I pray? You know, why do I pray? It came to mind a lot of times, the majority of people, they only really pray when they need something. You know, and this is something that I myself am guilty of. You know, we only really sit down and pray when we need something from God. And this is not what we are supposed to do. This is not how we're supposed to communicate with God, only when we need something from Him. I'm going to go to I've only got two scriptures. I'm going to go to 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and start with verse 16. It says, "Rejoice evermore, pray without ceasing, and everything give thanks, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus concerning you."
It's His pleasure.
And I want to talk about this, pray without ceasing. I've heard so many people get up and say, we have to pray without ceasing. And they'll get up and say, you always have to have a prayer on your mind. You always have to be constantly praying. I don't really think this is exactly what God meant when He said pray without ceasing.
Fast forward.
How dangerous would it be for you to be sitting there praying in your car every time you're driving down the road, the whole time you're driving? A person's mind doesn't concentrate on 15 things at one time. You know, it'd be kind of dangerous to be driving in the car and constantly praying because you're thinking about this prayer and you're not concentrating on your driving. I don't think this is what God had intended. But I've heard so many people preach it this way. You know, I've heard so many people preach it this way. I think He doesn't ask us to do things that is impossible for us to do.
No.
And He doesn't ask us to do things like that.
No.
This pray without ceasing, it means that He wants us to always remember to pray.
Talk with Jesus.
He wants us to always remember it. He wants it always to be fresh on our mind, to be able to pray.
Don't we want to be His best friend?
In 1 Chronicles chapter 16 and verse 11, it says, "Seek the Lord and His strength. Seek His face continually." I was looking up, whenever you look on Google or online, you find so many different definitions for things. I guess you just have to pick and choose the ones that you like and everything. But, you know, in the Oxford Language Dictionary, the definition for prayer is a solemn request for help or expression of thanks addressed to God or an object of worship.
That's just how
I really do not like this definition.
No.
I'm not a fan of this definition but even though we should pray and ask God for help, and we should pray and give Him thanks, that's not the only times that we should pray. So I don't think that should be the definition of prayer. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary gives a short explanation or definition of what prayer is. And the definition is words spoken to God. And this is the definition that I absolutely love.
From the heart.
This is a very good definition.
Yes.
Because a prayer, all it is a conversation between you and God.
That's right. It's talking.
It's not complicated. You don't have to always be asking for something. You don't have to always be thanking Him for something. You can just be talking to Him.
Boy, He's a friend.
And that's the way that we need to be. This is the thing that so many people have gotten away from, including me. So many times we take for granted the gift that God has given us to be able to talk to Him. We take it for granted. We don't do it like we should do. Prayer is more than something to check off of a to-do list. It's more than an obligation or expectation. Prayer is one of the greatest gifts and privileges we have as a Christian.
It's a want to.
It's God's gift of His time to be available for conversation.
It's a want to.
You know, when you pray, it's not only you talking to God, it's God listening. Every time you pray, God listens to what you have to say.
Yes, ma'am.
So He takes time to listen to us. When we pray, He always takes time to listen to us. There are many important things to prayer, and I kind of broke it down into about 7. I kind of hit on 7 things that are important about prayer, and there's lots more, but the first one is starting your day in prayer will help you get your mind in the right place for a more joy-filled day. You know, what can make you more joyful than starting your day off talking to God?
Having a little talk with
You know, what more joy is that, considering that all joy comes from God to begin with?
Oh, yes.
You know,
All good.
how can you start your day off any better than talking to God?
Amen. That's right.
Start your day with praise for all God is and all He is doing in your life. Set your mind on God and all His goodness. Fill your morning with thankfulness over all the blessings in your life. Invite God into your day ahead and ask His help in the areas you know will be difficult.
You're going to tickle Him.
And that's one of the first things that we should do when we get up in the mornings is we should pray. We should talk to God.
Amen.
And you know what? When you talk to God, you don't have to kneel beside your bed. You don't have to sit on the edge of your bed.
Just talk.
You can be laying back in the recliner after you get up in the morning and go sit in your chair in the living room. Then you can pray. You don't have to be standing. You don't have to be kneeling. All you have to do is open your mouth and talk to God.
Amen.
You know, that's all that's required of a prayer is talking to God. Number 2, prayer helps you make better decisions.
Amen.
How often do we find ourselves making poor decisions and wishing we'd have acted differently?
That's backward thinking.
What difference would it make in one day if we instead decided to react with calm and reasoning instead of yelling? Decided to take the time to really listen to a friend instead of rushing off to your next appointment?
We have time.
Decided to make a healthier choice instead of falling into old habits?
Oh, yeah.
How many decisions do we make in a day without praying about it, without asking God to guide us? And this also can go back to the step 1, to the first thing, to praying first thing in the morning, praying ahead. Asking God to guide you in all of the decisions you make in the day.
Weak. This is being strong.
Number 3, daily prayer keeps God at the forefront and not forgotten until Sunday. And this is the one that probably is the easiest for people to come to, because that old saying, out of sight, out of mind. If you don't pray daily, it slips your mind. And it's human flesh. It's not because you don't love God. It's human flesh. Our minds can't hold all these things, and we can't remember things all the time, every day. So if we don't do things on a regular basis, then we forget about it.
Don't let the flesh.
It's just natural that we forget about it. So we have to step out in front of it to prevent ourselves from forgetting about it. You know, we have to pray daily. The more you pray, the more you'll notice God at work all around you all week. You know, the more you talk to God, and I've told people sometimes, you know, whenever you give your heart and life to God, it doesn't mean that your problems go away.
No, no.
But your problems are easier to
But the
handle.
battle belongs to the Lord.
Not because the problems are easier, but because God makes it easier. Because God gives us the strength to handle the things that we couldn't normally handle before we had become a Christian.
No matter what.
Number 4, more frequent communication builds a stronger relationship.
Amen.
How often do you talk to your best friend, to your spouse, to your children? Probably more than once a week, right?
Yes.
Developing a strong relationship requires frequent communication. The more we talk to each other and have quality conversations, the better our relationship will be.
It's called communication.
The same is true with God. If you desire a deeper, more meaningful relationship with God, you need to talk to Him more than once a week. You need to have frequent and quality conversations with Him. So many times as we go through our days, and it just seems like when you leave church on Sunday, it's like you're fully revived and you're ready to go for the week. Come Monday, that begins to fade. On Tuesday, it fades a little bit more. Wednesday, it fades a little bit more. And then by the time Saturday comes around, some people don't even know if they're going to get up and go to church on Sunday morning.
There's more than coming to church, aren't they?
You know, when that Saturday rolls around, each day, this closeness with God has begun to fade. Because we haven't spoken to Him daily.
Draw nigh to God.
We haven't prayed to Him daily. We haven't done anything more than just ask Him for help when we need it. And it makes it more difficult on Sunday morning when we've gone 7 days through the week and not had communication with God. It's like your drive begins to go away. And I think that's one thing that a lot of people suffer from.
Don't jam it up.
It's so easy to, when you don't have this desire come Sunday morning to go to church like you had Sunday night when you left the week before, it makes it more difficult to get up and go to church. Number 5, the discipline of daily prayer is submitting your heart to God.
Remember the disciples?
Giving your life to Jesus is not a one-time event, but a daily discipline of submission. When you give your heart and life to God, it's not just that one time that you come up here to the altar.
And we're all going to see.
It's not that one time.
No.
It's every single day.
He's in our midst.
We have to resubmit ourselves to God every day. Praying daily is a part of that discipline. Not a rule or a qualification, but an act of love for the one who loves you dearly and wants to lead your life.
A want to, not a have to.
Daily prayer is a way to express your devotion and commitment to God, giving Him a priority in your day, precious time from your schedule. And this is something that we run into a whole lot. I didn't have time. We have to make time. We have to devote this time.
Satan's a deceiver.
And I know each of these things, you could have an entire sermon on each of these individual things. It's so important that we make time for God. We shouldn't give Him what's left over at the end of the night.
He's more deserving than that.
You know, if something runs over, say you sit down and you pray every night. If something runs over and you didn't get to sit down and pray at 9 o'clock like you normally do, you shouldn't cut God's prayer short. You should pray the same amount of time that you normally would pray. If you want to cut something short, cut yourself 10 minutes short on sleep. Cut yourself 30 minutes short on sleep, whatever. We need to give God the devotion and the commitment that He
Anytime
deserves.
is prayer time.
Number 6 is answered prayers are prayers prayed. If you aren't praying and asking for God's blessings and help, how do you expect Him to answer your prayers? I hear a lot of people and they'll say, well, you know, I have all these things going on in my life, but where's God at?
Hey,
He's
God-
in the same place He's always
God
been.
hasn't
He's sitting there waiting for you to ask for help. He's sitting there waiting for us to ask Him for help. He's right there where He's always been. He hasn't left. He's not gone
He
anywhere.
wants us
He's
to
right
be
there.
strong.
And I've had people say, you know, why do I have to pray and ask God for these things when He knows I need it anyways?
He wants you to know that
He
you need
wants
it.
your conversation.
Amen.
He wants you to talk to Him. He knows what kind of day you're having,
Sure.
but He wants you to tell Him.
Yes.
Just like when a child comes home from school, the parents usually ask first thing, how was school today? And then the child will tell their parents. That's what God wants.
Yes.
God wants that conversation. I know sometimes it sounds kind of foolish to put things like this, but
It's not good.
it's very important that we talk to God.
Amen.
We have to have that daily conversation with God.
We're all going to see
It's
Jesus.
not about what He knows, because He knows everything. It's about the prayer is not for God, it's for us.
Amen.
It's for us to have that conversation with Him. It's for us to be able to build on that, for us to be able to devote time to God. Number 7, opening your heart daily allows God to transform your heart.
Be a good witness.
When you come to this altar and you give your heart and life to God, everything does not change at one time.
No.
Everything doesn't change at one time.
Remember the
It's a
disciples,
process.
the training.
But how can you continue to change if you don't put your God in your life daily? If the only time, let's do it, let's say it like this. We're building a church. The building. How long would it take us to build this church if we only worked on it one day a week?
Oh my goodness. They'd be some birthdays.
One day a week. That's what people do to themselves when they only pray that one day a week when they come to church. They take something that can be grown at a faster pace and they slow it down to one day a week.
Sounds like Satan's working.
You know, prayer, it's not a transaction.
No.
It's not a transaction. It ain't like we just pray. It's not like swiping your debit card at the pumps or whatever.
You'll never
It's
take
not
all
like
the
that.
money out of the bank. It'll still be there.
It's a relationship with God.
Amen.
He wants to win over your heart and move it closer to His.
All hearts.
He wants us to want to become closer to Him. And the only way that we can prove that we want to be closer to Him is do things for Him, is talk to Him, to ask Him for the things that we need in the day, to thank Him for the things that we
Win some
have,
battles.
and in between time,
Win some
just to
battles.
talk to Him.
Be overcomers.
You know, you can talk to God like your best friend. You can say, when you go home from work, you can say, God, today was such a good day.
Amen.
Today was so wonderful that I just can't express how good today was. Or you could go home and you could say, Lord, I think this is one of the worst days I've ever had in my life.
Couldn't even see the sunshine.
I think this is one of the worst days I've ever had in my life. And He wants to hear it.
Sure.
He wants to hear about these things. He doesn't just want to, dear God, I need you to touch my knees and make it feel better. Dear God, we want you to make our church grow.
Oh, yes.
He wants to hear those things, but He wants to hear from us between time too.
Amen.
You know, how many friends do you have that call you only when they need you to come work? Or only when they need you to do them a favor?
Sunshine.
They're not so much of your close friends.
Fairweather friends.
Your close friends are going to call you and say, hey, I just calling to see how you're doing.
Yes.
You know, I seen on Facebook that something special happened to you or whatever, and I just wanted to call and see how you're doing with it.
Tell me about it.
You know, I want you to tell me about it. That's what a friend is, and that's what God wants from us. That's what God wants us to do with Him. And in return, every single time we talk to Him, He's going to listen. Have you ever had a conversation with somebody and they just kept rambling on and rambling on and rambling on, and you're sitting here thinking, you'll even answer them. Yep.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. And 5 minutes later, they ask you, well, didn't you hear what I said? They'll say something to you. Well, didn't you hear what I said? Well, you said, yeah, it was okay. You said, yeah, you heard me earlier. Well.
You didn't have a clue what I said.
But we don't have to worry about that with God. Because every time we talk to Him, He hears everything that we say.
Sure.
Now, I say that because yesterday, Brittany was talking to me about something, and I was sitting there, and actually it was last night, I was studying. And she was sitting there talking to me, and I said, oh, yeah, okay. I didn't hear a single word she had said. Not one word. And she said, you didn't hear anything I said? Yeah, you said something. I don't know.
Little does he know he gave me permission to spend $200.
But anyways, we don't have to worry about God never listening to us, because He always listens. He's always going to be there.
Always.
And
always and forever.
That's why it's so important to have a daily communication with God, prayer. That's why prayer is so important. You know, and you can also look at it like this. Whenever you have people that call, and the only thing they want is for you to come help them. The only time they call you is when they want you to come help them. Are you more likely to help that person? Are you more likely to help your friend that calls you and checks on you once a week?
We're talking about ways of the world.
If your friend that calls you just to see how you're doing once a week, once a month, whatever it is, you're probably more likely to help them if they need something than the person that the only time you hear from them is whenever they need something. After so long of people calling you and the only thing they want is for you to come do something for them, sometimes you begin to hit that reject button on that phone. Hey, that's one of the nice things about this new modern technology is you can hit that reject button. But we don't have to worry about that with God.
No, ma'am.
We don't have to worry about that with God. But like I said, in my way of thinking, He would probably be more susceptible to helping us if we committed the time to Him. If we talk to Him daily. If we do our part. There's so many people that just expect God to do His part and they don't want to do their part. There's so many people that they want God to bless them, but they won't come to church on Sunday morning.
God is true.
They want God to do His part, but they won't do their part.
God is true and faithful to them.
And I was thinking the other day about so many times about how people don't, before they become a Christian, they don't realize how blessed they really are.
God don't give up.
You know, because I don't believe, I guess, like a lot of other people believe. I believe God blesses the sinners just like He blesses the Christians.
They're His children, aren't they?
I don't believe that it's the devil giving all these people these things.
No,
The Bible tells us that everything that God gives is good.
Yes.
And so it's, people don't realize that even when, and Christian people are guilty of this too.
Yep, we
You know,
are.
they think that when they go to the doctor, or I've had people say that they refuse to go to the doctor because they don't believe in going to the doctor, because God's going to heal them.
God made all
And I think there are some people that have enough faith that God will heal them.
Sure.
But God wants us to understand that even if your doctor is not a Christian, God has given him that talent, or her. God has given that doctor that talent to perform those surgeries, to do all these things. God has given these people that talent, even though they may not be a Christian.
It's actually a gift.
It's still a gift from God.
That's Brother Thompson.
And it's a gift from God to us.
Yes.
A lot of people think that a doctor's talents or gifts was given to them for them. But they're also given to them for us.
Amen.
Not everybody can be a doctor. I wouldn't have any clue on how to be a doctor. There's no way in the world I could be a doctor. And I wouldn't want to be a doctor. But God blesses some people with those
You have
talents.
another gift.
God
gives
blesses
gifts to
some people
everyone.
with those talents.
Yes.
And their talents are not given to them just for them. They're given to them for us also.
Share.
And I'm going to get ready to close, but it's so important to pray. I can't stress enough how important it is to pray. And me too. It's so important for me also to realize that I need to talk to God more than just when I need something, or just when we're thanking Him for something. It's good, and we have to do these things in repetition, or we won't do them.
We'll die.
A lot of people say, you know, you can't just repeatedly pray throughout the day, but that's what it takes. If you don't set aside the time and say, when I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to sit down and pray for 15 minutes. I'm going to sit down and pray for 15 minutes in the morning. When we sit down to eat, I want to pray and thank God for the food that we have.
Be thankful for all.
And whatever else may come for the day.
Yes.
You know, whatever else may have happened that day and whatever else may happen later. I want to sit down at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And if I'm at work, I can go to my truck and sit in my truck for 10 minutes and pray and thank God.
Lord, make this day good. For
And
you.
just talk to God. At bedtime, before I go to bed. We have to schedule these things or else they'll never get done. What happens if you need to get a tooth pulled, but you never call and make an appointment? You don't get that tooth pulled. You have to make an appointment. You have to schedule it. And that's the way our lives work. If we don't schedule it, we're not going to do it. It's not going to get done.
Priority.
And that's the way it works. God wants us to prioritize Him. He wants us to set aside time for Him.
Isn't it common sense?
And you know, when I think about this, I think a lot about Muslims. I don't want to get into their religion or anything like that, but Muslims are devoted.
Yes.
Muslims are devoted. I don't know what time of day it is, but every day at a certain time, they put their prayer blankets down, they hit their knees, and they bow,
Everything
and they
shuts
pray.
down and they pray.
Every day. They do that. That is devotion.
It's true.
Religion.
That is devotion. We can learn from this, even though we don't agree with their religion. We don't agree with the things that they do. But we should look at the devotion that they have. We should try to adopt some of these ideas that they have, that they use, that we can use to better ourselves.
Take the good things
And to get a closer walk with God. We need to take, I'm not saying go read their religion.
No.
I'm saying look at the devotion that they have towards their religion. Look at the good things. You can learn good from everything.
Yes, sir.
There's always good to be found in everything. Even in the darkest situations that a person is in, there's always something good that you can find.
Seek and you shall find.
There's always something good, or something that we can get from it, something that we can learn from it. There's always something good. And I would just challenge, I know she's recording this and she's gonna post this also. I would challenge anyone here and anyone that watches the video and listens to pay attention to your day and think about how many times you actually pray. If you have a little notebook, carry it around with you throughout the next week. Each time that you pray, take your little tally mark, put on there, Monday, I prayed once. Tuesday, I prayed 3 times.
It's contagious.
Wednesday, I got busy and didn't have time.
Uh-oh.
It's the importance. Your relationship with God depends upon how many times you talk to Him, how often you talk to Him. You can be the most talented person in the world, and if you don't have a good communication with God, it doesn't mean anything.
Don't drift so far away you can't.
It doesn't matter how talented you are. It doesn't matter about all the things that you do throughout your day and in your life. If we don't have that closeness with God, we need that closeness with God. We need to pray. We need to talk to God. And if it makes a person feel better, you don't have to call it prayer. Technically, that's what it is. But you can say, I got to go spend time with God. I need to go talk to God. A lot of times when you say, I need to go pray, a lot of people think, well, what in the world has he done now? What has he done so wrong? You know, the Catholics, they do that confession. You know, when you do something wrong, you go to the confession booth and you talk to the priest that's there. Same general concept. Instead of talking to the priest, I guess we have an advantage over these people.
Jesus is our high priest.
The advantage that we have over these people is we have a direct line to God.
Absolutely.
We got an open line.
Yes.
We have an open line to God. We don't need to go talk. I don't need to come up here whenever I was speeding down the highway. I don't need to come up here and make Pawpaw get out of his house, come over here and sit in the box over there in the corner and go on the other side so he can't see me. And then I'll sit in there and tell him, I have sinned because I broke the laws of the land.
This is a local phone call.
I don't need to go over there and get him out of his house to do that.
No.
All I got to do is talk to God. We have a direct line to God.
Jesus is our advocate.
Them people
He's our lawyer.
that believe in the confessions and all that, and I don't want to bash anybody's religion or anything like that. I'm using this as an example. You know, those people that believe that they have to talk to the priest in order for him to talk to God, they don't realize that they have that same connection with God that we have.
They're under
Even the sinner has that same connection with God that we have.
What a privilege it is to talk with Jesus.
They may not have the relationship with God that we have, but they have that same line of communication. The same line of communication. They got God's phone number just like we got God's phone number. All they got to do is pick up the phone and call. And that's what it boils down to. It's just as simple as picking up the phone and calling.
It's a long
Talking to
time.
God, it's the same way, except we don't have to have a device to communicate between the two of us. All we gotta do is talk. I'm gonna close with that.
That's Brother